Welcome to another episode of the Victory Podcast, driven by Audi. I'm your host, Keely Eure, joined by my co-host and former USC quarterback, Cody Kessler. Cody, we're back on a Monday night recapping USC's 45-31 win over Michigan State. I'm curious, Cody, your overall thoughts. How are you feeling after that game?
Yeah, overall, I'm feeling good. USC's 4-0 right now. That's all you can ask for. They're passing the test each week. And this was an interesting game. We started out going down, getting 3 points, and then Michigan State had that explosive play. In the past game, they go up 7-3. So we're already down four and starting behind, the eight ball a little bit in this game, but they overcame that adversity, got rolling on both sides of the ball, got things figured out. And then it felt like USC was taking off in the second half, and then they fumble on the offensive side of the ball. And it's, 31-10. And before that, we had a, roughing the kicker and then 12 men on the field. And, the problems started to pile up a little bit. And you start worrying, okay, 31-10, now it's 31-24. And is this team going to be able to overcome that? But again, overcame adversity. They handled those situations. I don't want those to happen, but I also love as a fan and someone watching the game that they're dealing with it now, that there's going to be, times when you're going to have to be battle tested at the end of the year, and you can lean back on those, situations. You can lean back on that weather delay against Purdue and some things that are uncharacteristic of this team. Like I said, the fumble. This offense has been great protecting the football, but now you have a fumble in the third quarter. How do you overcome that? And then giving up big plays on defense. We'll talk about the secondary. Been up and down. Got to get those figured out. But how do you overcome that? Can you find motion again? I mean, Georgian or against Georgia Southern, we fumble on the first drive of the game. Have to
Yeah.
overcome that. So, all those things that are happening now, that is adversity that's going to battle test this team. I'm glad they're taking care of it. They're getting it figured out, and they're 4-0. I mean, there's really not much more you can ask for right now as a USC Trojan fan. Offense looks great. Defense is continuing, to stack those good days, and they're getting better. Special teams got to fix some things here and there, but overall, I'm feeling really good going into week 5.
Also noteworthy, Cody, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of the show, I just want to give an update that Wayne Matthews III, the Michigan State player who went down during the game, is doing better. He was able to fly home with the team on Saturday night. So just great news all around. It was terrifying to be there in that situation, terrified for him and his family. So glad to hear that and glad to hear he's doing better.
Yeah, that was a scary moment, and you never want to see anything like that happen. I'm glad that Wayne Matthews is third. I'm glad he's doing better. That's big time news too that he got to fly home with his team. That's always
Yeah.
a good sign, and it's just a reminder that these are, I know they're football players and we watch them and you idolize them and you root for them, but at the end of the day, they're still humans, and that was scary for him and his teammates. And you could see the guys on Michigan State getting really emotional. Some of his guys that he
Yeah.
works with or practices with every single day. They spend a lot of time together. You could see the coaching staff. I mean, it really shook up some of the USC players as well, and I'm sure everyone in the Coliseum. But either way, I'm glad that he's doing better. I'm glad that he got to go back, with his teammates. And it was so cool for me after the game to see everyone coming together, whether you were a Spartan or a Trojan, and they were praying for him.
Yeah.
And that moment was really cool. Good news, though. I saw that he tweeted, and I can get on Twitter and put out, thank you for all the prayers and support. I'm doing a lot better now. I'll be back in no time. So there is some positive to that. Again, a very scary moment, but just know Wayne Matthews III, Trojan fans are supporting you. We're rooting for you, and we hope for a speedy recovery.
+1, Cody. Completely agree with that, and we're rooting for him for the rest of the season. Before we jump into USC's offensive performance, just a couple reminders. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also look at the video version of the show on the USC Athletics YouTube channel. Also, be sure to follow us on our socials, Victory Pod USC. That's where you can look for schedule updates, and you can put in a question for our Wednesday preview show, which will come out sooner than you know it because we're recording on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Cody. I know you're a busy man, Cody. When we can get your time, we will get it. You're a superstar in the making. So, or a superstar already? I don't know. What are you classifying yourself these days?
Will you stop? No, I'll tell you what though. I am working hard, and I was in Woodland Hills earlier today doing the Gridiron show, but got back just in time to record this episode. Then I got to go watch some Monday Night Football. Then tomorrow we got another episode for the Gridiron, and then we're gonna do some prep, dive into Illinois, and then have an
Yep.
episode for you guys Wednesday. So I know it might not be the most ideal timing right now with everything, and I know everybody wants their episodes out quick, but I promise we're working hard behind the scenes, and we're gonna get all the content out to you guys.
Yeah, also, I just want to say someone commented, is this because you guys don't want to work on Sundays? And I promise you, we
No.
are still very much working on Sundays. It's because
Yeah.
Cody also has to do too much work on Sundays that we had to shift the episode this week. So,
I'm watching about 9 hours of NFL football on Sundays. When I have Monday episodes with the Arena Gridiron, you don't know what game you're going to watch or what game you're going to talk about, because sometimes it's like, all right, this isn't a big game, and then it turns into a big game, and then you got to be switching through all the channels, and then at the same time I'm trying to do my notes on the recap of USC Michigan State or whoever they play. So I promise you guys, we're going to get a little bit better with this. We're still figuring it out as we go, but this is still priority A for me. is USC football, is the Victory Podcast, is everything USC, and hopefully that reflects in our work and how hard we work to get all the episodes out.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. It's not because of laziness. It's
No,
definitely
no,
because
no.
we are working a lot.
Yeah.
On that front, Cody, I want to jump into USC's offensive performance. I know as a quarterback, you love talking about the quarterback first. So what do you see from Jayden Maiava in week 4?
He's playing some great football right now. He really is. I mean, it just feels like I'm a broken record every week. I'm just waiting, not in a bad way, but I'm waiting for maybe a mistake or some adversity or a couple misses or, how's he going to react to a turnover? That's not happening. And that's a good problem to have, that I don't have any of those things to talk about. He in my opinion right now, and you can call me biased, you can say whatever you want. He is playing as good as any other quarterback in the entire country right now. And not only do the numbers back that up, because it's easy to go stat watch and say, okay, he's 6th in the country in passing yards. He's 15th in touchdowns. He's 1st in the entire country with passer rating. Those are easy to look at, but when you watch the film, that 100%, backs that up. He does such a great job right now of going through progression, knowing where to go with the football. Is he perfect with his accuracy? Is he missing some throws? Is he still working on some timing things? Yes, 100%. I'm not saying that he's perfect, but at the same time, from the quarterback we saw 4 games last year and those starts to the quarterback that we've seen 4 games this year. I have 4 last season, 4 this season, and I can compare those two. It is night and day. And it makes me feel so good that there's a guy leading this football team at the quarterback spot that perfects his craft, and he cares about how well he plays, and he cares about elevating his teammates. And you can see him out there. There's a play down where he ended up sneaking the ball on a quarterback sneak, but they lined up in a different formation. It might have seemed like a small thing from the outside looking in, but Lincoln Riley had to call timeout. They had to come to the sideline and talk about something. And you could tell Coach Riley got a little fired up and was getting on him. But Jayden didn't have a big ego, didn't any of that. You could see he's looking at him saying, yes, sir, I got it, coach. We figured it out. We went out there, had a quarterback run or quarterback sneak and finish in the end zone. Those are small things that lead to bigger things, to where, all right, it might not seem like a big issue right now, but there's going to be a time when we're on the road in South Bend or this week against Illinois and it's 3rd and 8. And you're gonna have to come over to the sideline and Coach Riley's gonna say, hey, how do you feel about this play? Or let's run that play. Or they're gonna have to communicate and work through some, adversity, but you're already setting the foundation now early on this season to where I feel like they're gonna handle those situations later on. So it's great to see. I love the way that he's just playing with that confidence about him. He has a swagger about him that we didn't see last year. I'm like I said, I'm trying not to be biased, but the sky's the limit for Jayden Maiava this year. I'm not gonna say Heisman watch. Or am I going to say Heisman watch? He's not getting the respect. He's not getting the respect he deserves right now. I saw a top 10 Heisman list yesterday. No mention of Jayden Maiava, but we like it that way. Let's go under the radar right now. And then, when it really matters later in the season, these big time games, he'll have that Heisman moment. I truly believe that.
You know what's funny, Cody? I always joke about the fact that you're always on the same page with USC's coaches. And I know for a fact you haven't seen Trojans Live yet because 1, it hasn't aired, and 2, you have been so busy today. But Coach Riley actually said one of Jayden's best qualities is his humbleness and how easy he is to coach. And you hit it on the head. I mean, it just seems like they're really finding a groove, both Coach Riley, Coach Eure, and Maiava this season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not coachable, you're never going to improve. No one has all the answers. And that starts with the coaches too. Like Coach Riley is still adapting how he runs this offense and how he handles being a head coach. And Coach Hanson's adapting on how to be an offensive line coach. And Coach Heward's adapting on how to be a quarterback coach. That goes to the players. You've never reached your peak. There's always room to improve. And once you feel like you've reached your peak, then the only way to go is down, right? And it might sound a little cliche, but that's the truth. And for me, I have no worries about Jayden in that category. I love that that's echoed by Coach Riley. That's huge because I've been around guys in locker rooms that aren't coachable, and it's tough to get through to them, and that trickles into the team. And especially when it comes at those leadership positions, it kind of, sets the tone for the rest of the locker room and the rest of the team. So the fact that we have a great one in Jayden Maiava, not only as a player, but as a leader, it makes you feel really good.
Well, Cody, in the preview episode, you highlighted the fact that Michigan State had a number 9 run defense in the nation. So I was curious how USC was going to attack it, especially given the fact that the Michigan State's passing defense wasn't so great. But USC ended up having more rushing yards than passing yards on Saturday night. What did you think of that?
Yeah, that was great to see. That this is back-to-back games where Lincoln Riley and this USC offense has leaned more on the run game than they have the pass game. I mean, they ran the ball 40 times, they threw it 26. And it's easy to say, okay, we got the lead, so we can lean on the run game. That was from the very start. That run game got the pass game going, in my opinion. I mean, Wade and Jordan had some explosive plays on the ground. He averaged 8.7 yards per carry on Saturday. Eli Sanders averaged 5.6 yards per carry. You are going to win a lot of football games if your backs are both averaging over 5 yards per carry, and one of them's averaging 8 yards per carry. I mean, that's great stuff. They're playing some really good football right now. Wayman Jordan, not to toot my own horn, but we have receipts. You can go back and check. I said he's going to be the breakout star this year for
You did.
USC's team on offense and defense. He's going to fit perfectly in the scheme because of the tape I watched at Hutchinson Community College, and that is holding true. He has looked great through 4 games. I am very impressed with Eli Sanders as well. Loved his tape at New Mexico. I didn't know how he was going to fit in this running back room when you have Wayman Jordan at 1. Brian Jackson's a little different back. I didn't know where Eli Sanders was going to fit in, but he's really kind of taken over that Woody Marks type role. Now, I'm not putting him on the same tier as Woody Marks yet. You got to earn that. And Woody's playing some great football in the NFL right now. But Eli Sanders has that explosiveness to his game to where he's a threat not only in the run game, but in the pass game as well. So that's been great to see. And I know they would say it, so I'm going to say it for them. These running backs are nothing without their offensive line. Those are the big guys up front that are blocking, and I got to give those guys a shout out. They're getting things going right now. They're playing physical. They're getting after it. They're communicating well. Killian O'Connor's doing a great job of leading this unit. And, I got to also give a shout out to Coach Hansen. I know everyone saw on Saturday, not great news for USC. I'm holding my breath a little bit. But Elijah Page went down and came out of that game. I hope he's okay. I hope he has a speedy recovery. But the reason I say shout out to Coach Hansen is because this was a perfect example of next man up and what they had to do. And I don't know if everyone noticed, but what they did was they moved Justin Tauanu from right tackle to left tackle. Then they put Tobias Raymond from left guard to right tackle. Alani Noah stayed at right guard, and Micah Benuelos came in at left guard. That is so difficult to do in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
When I promise you throughout the week, they aren't practicing that. Now, they've gotten some reps probably during fall camp and had those guys move around. But during the week, you're playing in your main spot and then you react to injuries and stuff like that. But for them to do that on the fly and not miss a beat and still have a lot of production on offense and be great in pass protection, be great in run blocking, that's just a huge testament to this football team and a huge shout out to Coach Hansen having those guys ready to go. That is some high level stuff. And the fact that they're already doing that in week 4 makes you feel really good that if never want it to happen. But if there are some injuries going forward, there's multiple guys that can play in different spots and they can keep having production up front with that unit.
Well, unfortunately, the injury news continued to plague USC's offense in the sense that Jacoby Lane was listed as questionable for the game. I thought it was going to be good news, Cody. He was warming up with the team in the pre-workout, if you will, where he's stretching with the band and stuff with Coach True. But then when he came out with the team, he was not dressed out. And then what's interesting is because he gave that like half and half warm up situation, I thought it was going to be like maybe a game time decision. But then Coach Riley said after the game that he really doesn't know Jacoby's status. He said, I can't tell you if he's going to be ready for next week or the next couple of weeks. And he said it was something that popped up midweek based on the Purdue game. So it's scary news in that sense.
Yeah.
You obviously want Jacoby Lane out there. You want that Lemon and Lane duo. But talking about Lemon, he was able to step up in Jacoby's absence. What did you see from him?
Yeah, Jacoby's definitely going to be missed. Hopefully it's something that's minor and he can get back, to playing football really soon. And it sounds like something that's day to day. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keely did cheat though, might I add, for those of you that watched
I
the
did
Trojan
not
Tailgate show.
cheat. I
She
did
picked
not
Jacoby
cheat.
Lane, had some insider information, and then went and picked Makai Lemon at the last second. We're supposed to pick by Wednesday at 5 p.m. And
Okay.
Keely Eure on record. Let the record show
No.
she cheated.
This
and
shows
picked
that you
Makai
guys don't
Lemon.
pay attention at all. I
Uh-oh.
had Brian Jackson as my pick for Purdue, and he didn't play against Purdue. So then I picked
didn't.
Lake McCree. No one cared
Oh,
because I didn't win.
It sounds like to me you're getting the injury report early, picking
It
someone that
sounds
might
like I'm
not play
picking
so
poorly.
that you can buy time. All right.
No,
We'll
no,
see.
no,
Keep an
no.
eye. Everyone, keep an eye on it. Make sure you watch Trojan Tailgate Show next week. I promise it's going to come
There
up
you
again.
go. It'll be bright and
but-
early.
Yeah,
7
oh, yeah,
a.m.
okay. 7 a.m. Well,
Yes.
I won't be there. I'll be asleep. But either way, look, Makai
You'll
Lemon.
be in the studio at 7 a.m.
No, I won't be there. I'm calling sick. I'm calling in sick.
Okay.
I'm
There we
calling
go,
sick.
superstar. Okay.
But
Anyway.
yeah. But either way, no. I mean, that's the thing. When you have two great receivers, when Jacoby Lane's out, Makai Lemon can step up. And if Makai was out, then Jacoby can step up. And if either one of them out, then you have some younger guys that stepped up and some other guys that haven't played a ton this year that had to make some big time catches in this game. And we'll talk about them in a second. But Makai Lemon looked great when you have a player like Makai Lemon. I can't believe that, I know it was a coverage 4 situation and there were a couple times that Lincoln Riley dialed up, some things on the scheme side of stuff to where you put him on some one-on-one matchups. But the fact that you're going to put Makai Lemon one-on-one with the safety on that deep post, or you're going to put him one-on-one on the outside, or give him just freedom to run across the middle, blows my mind. I don't think that's the best recipe for success. But you know why they do that is because they're worried about the run game and they're loading the box and they're having to come downhill with their safeties and play those cover four type coverages to where their safeties are involved in the run game. But USC's offense, Jayden Maiava, Makai Lemon, they took advantage of this. Lemon had 8 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. Probably could have had more too. They left a couple plays out there. He also had a rushing touchdown on that end around, which was awesome to see. He's an absolute stud. He's going to play on Sundays. I don't get tired of saying this. I don't get tired of talking about Lemon and Lane. Obviously, Jacoby didn't play in this game, but Makai Lemon is an absolute stud. He's going to be a big time player for this USC football team this year and a big time player at the next level for years to come. But I got to talk about some of the other guys that stepped up as well with Jacoby Lane being out. Shout out to Nuke Hines. First touchdown as a
Yeah.
Trojan. That was awesome to see. That was a great play design. Jayden Maiava obviously recognized the coverage. He knew that he could lay it up in the back of the corner of the end zone and let him go make a play on the football. It's cool to kind of rip the Band-Aid off and get that first one. And now, hopefully, even if Lane is out or if he comes back, they'll start to come a little bit more for Tanook Hines, and then he'll get a second and a third and then find a way to get in the end zone. So that was awesome. Jayden Richardson, another guy, stepped up, had a couple catches in that game. Someone that's been here for a couple years. We talked about as a transfer player last season. And
Yeah.
when you have those injuries, guys got to step up. So that was great. Tight ends have been playing some good football. Didn't need them a ton in this game, but Walker Lyons got in the end zone. Again, another play that Lincoln Riley runs over and over, that little slide route to the tight end to where it feels like Jayden Maiava can literally just hand him the football and he'll walk in the end zone, but teams still can't figure that out. And that's because Lincoln Riley as a play caller is continuing to evolve and elevate. And he's getting better and better each week. And he's showing you that same look to where, okay, we're going to hand it off. Lake McCree is going to block. He's going to slide. He's going to do all these different things. And now we're going to slip him out in the flat and run a pass. So when you have all these weapons, even with Jacoby Lane out at the perimeter, at the tight end spot, makes it very difficult for defenses to cover you. And we're seeing that in real time.
What's interesting is if this is more long term with Jacoby Lane, we talked about how we prefer USC to have just two options or limited options at wide receiver so that, those stars can shine. So if Jacoby does sit out for a while, are you concerned at all, Cody, or the fact that we've been seeing production from USC's tight ends and obviously the running back room has been so explosive? Are you concerned at all production-wise offensively if Jacoby has to sit out for a little bit?
Yeah, this is kind of the positive negative outlook on this situation. And to your point, last year when you had, Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane, Deuce Robinson, Zachariah Branch, Kyron Hudson, when you have all those guys in the wide receiver room, it's tough for someone to get into a rhythm because you're trying to get everybody the football. But then when you remove some of those guys and you have two-star players like that, one gets hurt, then it's next man up mentality. And that depth isn't quite there that it was a year ago. So there's some give and pull with that and some give and take. So USC is obviously going to have to figure out how to navigate this situation. The best part, though, is that if Jacoby Lane is out this week, now Lincoln Riley knows instead of a game time decision, now he understands that I have an entire week to game plan with Tanook Hines, to get Jayden Richardson some plays, to get Lake McCree more involved in this offense, Walker Lyons. Let's get Eli Sanders more involved in the pass game as well. Let's get King Miller in space as well. He's got some big time plays down the field. So
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned because of who our play caller is and who our head coach is, Lincoln Riley, and the way that Jayden Maiava is playing right now. So I feel comfortable about that. But no, I'll never sit here and say, no, I don't want, Jacoby Lane on the field. Let's get him back healthy. But this is going to be good for some of these younger guys to realize, all right, I got a bigger role in this offense now. I've got to step up for when my team might need me later on in the season.
Alrighty, Cody, I want to switch over to talk about USC's defensive performance. Before we do, just want to give a thanks to Audi. What you expect from an SUV is a range of sizes to fit your lifestyle. Expectations matter, but exceeding them matters more. The Audi family of SUVs, progress you can feel. And at Ralph's, you get high quality and low prices, so you never have to compromise your budget. Save on thousands of items throughout the store. Ralph's, fresh for everyone. Alrighty, Cody, speaking about USC's defense, we got to give a shout out to USC's front seven. What another great performance from that group.
Yeah, this is so impressive to watch right now. That front seven, and I know we're saying front seven, meaning the 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. I'm going to put Kamari Ramsey in that spot a little bit. He rotates in as that nickel linebacker, but then we saw some base this game as well, playing a pro-style offense. But front seven overall, those guys up front, especially the defensive line, you could say front 6, the 2 linebackers and Eric Gentry, Desmond Stevens, they have been playing some great football. I mean, they lead the country right now in sacks, 16 sacks through 4 games. Last year, they had 6 sacks through the first 6 games. Like, let that sink in. to go from 6 sacks in 6 games a year ago, now you have 16 through 4 games and you lead the entire country. It is phenomenal. And to see that turnaround and only Danton Lynn's second year, I mean, the sky's the limit for this pass rush. And it's not just the front four, too. I got to admit, linebackers are getting in the backfield. We're bringing safeties as well on some of these pressure looks, but it all starts with those big guys up front. They're playing really good. 38 tackles for loss as well, which is second in all of college football. I mean, there's just so much depth and talent with these guys up front, and they can rotate so many different times and they give you so many different looks. And if it's not Cameron Crawford, then it's Anthony Lucas. If it's not Lucas, then it's Shelby. If it's not Shelby, it's Devin Tompkins. And then it's, Silver. And then it's Jarrett. And it's so tough as an offensive coordinator to game plan against all these different guys. But another guy that I have to give a shout out to is Jakeem Stewart is playing some football right now. He is, I mean, that was as good as I've seen from a freshman in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't want to make the comparison, but I had flashbacks from when I played with Leonard Williams and he was a freshman at USC, just the way that he would split those defenders up front and he's in the backfield. It reminded me of that play that Jadeveon Clowney had. And then the bowl game when they played, I think it was Michigan. You know what I'm talking about? When they hand it
No,
off
I
and he
don't.
hits that. Oh, please go watch it. I promise
Okay.
you. It's unbelievable. It wasn't as violent as a hit, but he just splits the defenders and he's in the backfield in a millisecond. And look, I'm not putting him in Jadeveon Clowney's category. I'm not putting him in Leonard Williams' category. He's still a young player. He's got to earn that. But you can't watch that tape and tell me that you're excited about this man's future. I mean, it's extremely impressive. Real deal. And I mean that. I mean, he's for real. He's going to be special. We called it in the offseason, too. We said, look, it's not a matter of if this kid's going to be special. It's a matter of when he's going to be special. And I didn't anticipate it to be this early, but it's already starting to show up. So I hope he can build off of that. Also, it's not just on him. He's got great coaches around him. He's got great players around him. That helps you elevate your game when you're in a room full of studs. And that's what this defensive line room has. And then looking at the linebackers, Eric Gentry is the best linebacker in football. I truly believe that. He is on All American watch. He's on Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year watch. Whatever list you want to put him on, he's on it right now. He is a difference maker on this football team. I cannot wait to see how he continues to develop this year. He's just going to keep getting better and better. He's got to stay healthy, though. There's a big
Yeah.
difference with this defense when 18's on the field and when he's not on the field. I just really hope that he can stay healthy and reach his full potential. I'm so curious, too, and this is getting off track a little bit, but when I write down my notes and I watch him, I'm so intrigued on what position he's going to play at the next level because he is a
Right? Yeah.
unicorn and he can fit in so many different schemes. Where he gets drafted is going to be so important for him, but also teams can adapt to what he can do because he can play anywhere on the field. So he's playing some good football. Desmond Stevens, too. I was a little tough on him last week. Said he was a little slow with his gap integrity, getting to the spot, and not slow in the sense of him not having great speed, slow in the sense of not being fully comfortable yet. He's still getting his legs under him. He's still getting comfortable in this scheme, and you can tell he was hesitating a little bit. This week looked a lot better. I got to give him credit. Had 5 tackles in the game, which was I think third on the team, and looks like he's starting to play a little bit better alongside Eric Gentry too. You have a tall, lankier Eric Gentry that's quick and get through the line, and then you have that bigger bruiser type linebacker in Desmond Stevens. It's a great 1-2 punch right now. So it's great to see them really coming along and building that chemistry.
Now, in terms of USC secondary, I know that's an area you've been watching extra closely, Cody, and you want to see some week-to-week improvement. What did you see in week 4 from that group?
Yeah, I still have some questions about this unit. And when I'm talking about the secondary, I mean the safeties and the corners. The corners have played well. DeCarlos Nicholson obviously has stepped up into that starting cornerback one role, and he's been the primary guy on the outside. But opposite of him, there's still questions of who that guy is going to be. Marcellus Williams has played some games as a starter. DJ Harvey started some games earlier in the year. We've seen Braylon Conley rotate in. There's been some injuries, so the rotation has been different from game to game. But overall, someone has to step up and lock down that second corner spot. And I think also I would like to see someone lock down that nickel defender spot as well, so that it's not always Kamari Ramsey having to play that nickel linebacker and he can play more in the back end as a safety. But right now it just feels like Lynn maybe doesn't trust all 3 of those guys or doesn't feel comfortable with, okay, 2 corners on the outside and then let's bring a cover guy in at that nickel position. This is one of the situations we talked about earlier in the year where Prophet Brown has been missed and
Yeah.
that was his primary spot. You deal with injuries, things like that are going to happen. But in turn, that leads to, like I mentioned, Kamari Ramsey having to play that nickel linebacker spot. And USC has been playing a lot more 3 safety looks to where Bishop Fitzgerald is back deep, Christian Pierce is back deep, and then Kamari Ramsey's been at that nickel spot. So either way, I'm not out on this group. I feel really good about the way that they're playing together. They're going to keep getting better. They keep having some of these issues though with communication, which is a little frustrating. Like the first touchdown they had against Michigan State, the in and out route that they had against Missouri State, the play where Bishop Fitzgerald wasn't on the same page as everyone else with the touchdown against Georgia Southern. So those things keep popping up, which concerns me a little bit. But the skill set is there. There's a lot of talent in the back end with this unit as a whole. It's just getting the most out of these guys and putting them in positions to win. And I feel like that's why Lynn might be rotating so much right now, is figuring out, okay, who plays better in man, who plays better in zone, who's better in nickel defense when it's a 4-2-5, who's better in base defense, and are those two guys on the outside, and then who are the two best safeties on the back end as well. So the more it goes on, the more I get a little concerned, because now we're in week 5 and we don't have a set in stone unit right now on the back end, and guys are still having to play a little bit out of position. But overall, you're seeing progress in different spots. Guys, the more reps they get, the more comfortable they're going to feel. But again, it's week 4 going into week 5. This is that 4-game stretch. It's going to be difficult. We got a couple buys thrown in there, so maybe some other guys can hopefully get healthy, or
Yeah.
guys can get more comfortable, get more reps in practice. On those bye weeks, it's good because you go back ones versus ones, and you can get some live game reps instead of going scout team every time. But guys got to figure this out in this game. Aiden Childs had 3 passing touchdowns, only 13 of 23, so he did a good job with some pass breakups. But there were too many times that Michigan State wide receivers were wide open, and the coverage wasn't sticky enough, and it was too easy for them on the offensive side of the ball. Again, I'm being overly critical, but we've got to get this fixed going forward, because we're going to face some good quarterbacks coming up.
Now, we've made our way through the offense and defense, but just 2 more things I want to hit on, Cody, before we wrap this one up. The first one we've talked about a lot so far this season, and it's something that you've earmarked for USC to improve on, but penalties continue to be an issue. We got to talk to head coach Lincoln Riley on Trojans Live about it today, and he clearly was not happy with it, but he also said, that's the price of being an aggressive team. What are your thoughts about the penalties? And ultimately, they affected the game in the second half, so how do you clean that up in season?
Yeah, this is another week, and it feels like, again, this team is having some penalties that hurt them in the football game. This was one of my keys to the game, too, going into this one, was eliminate penalties. Against Purdue, it hurt us at times. Against Georgia Southern the week before, it hurt us a couple times. They're getting away with it right now as a team, and it's not hurting them too bad. But if you don't get that fixed, there's going to be a crucial moment in one of these games to where it's going to be a free 15-yarder or a free explosive play, or you're going to play great coverage on third down and get a holding call or a hands to the face, and it's going to completely change, I don't want to say the outcome, but the momentum of the game. And we saw that happen this week. I mean, the game was basically over. It was 31-10. And I almost turned the game off. I was feeling good. Okay, I'll watch the rest of it tomorrow. I'm going to hang out with my family. And then we get the running into the kicker. And then we get the 12 men on the field. And now they have new life. And you give them a free first down. And you give them that little bit of lifeline that they needed. And they go down and score. And then we fumble on the next series because the momentum's gone. And then they get the ball and score again. And instead of it going 38-10, because I feel like we would have scored if we got the ball, now it's 31-24, and it's a 7-point game. And everyone's a little bit worried now. I'm glad they overcame that adversity and got it figured out. But that was started because of a penalty. And then it kept going because of a penalty. And those things, if they add up, they are going to hurt you in the long run. You've got to get that fixed. 11 penalties for 82 yards in this game. That's not disciplined football. That's not winning football. I know when you play aggressive, you're going to have a penalty here and there, and you can't eliminate everything. You're going to have a PI when you're trying to break up the pass. You might have a holding call here and there. You're not going to be perfect, but some of these pre-snap penalties or some of these discipline penalties, that's what worries me if they don't get it fixed going forward.
Cody, this is a prime example of podcast synergy, because I also had that second half as a talking point and you just took it. So, I mean, they were intertwined, the penalties and that second half, but we're on the same page. On that front, Cody, any final thoughts to wrap this one up, recapping USC, Michigan State?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to the fans. That was awesome. Jen Cohen, Coach Riley, the coaching staff, the players, they sent a message earlier in the week saying, hey, show up, pack the Coliseum, make it loud. It was loud. It was just that. It was awesome. Matt Leinart led the team out of the tunnel.
That
There
was cool.
celebrities all over the field. I mean, Keely Eure was there. She's a celebrity.
Superstar
everyone.
Cody Kessler was in attendance. Oh, my
No,
God.
but it was cool. I got to give credit to our fans, man. We have to create that home field advantage. Other teams in the Big Ten do it. That has to be a staple for this football team. I know people joke about the 12th man and is it a real thing? Is home field advantage really that important? I promise you, speaking from experience, there were games where I went on the road as a quarterback and had to check at the line and get the play call and make different adjustments and audibles, or just try to hear yourself think. That absolutely plays a factor. So we need to create that at the Coliseum. That was awesome to see our fans respond. So shout out to them. We'll be back Wednesday. I'm excited for the next episode. We got Illinois this week. It's an early one. Hopefully you guys get up and instead of maybe some alcoholic beverages for your pregame, it's going to be coffee and some tea, but maybe a little eggs for breakfast for your tailgate. But either way, we've got to get up. We've got to be ready to go support this football team. This is a big game against a very good opponent.
Alrighty, you heard the man. That's going to wrap it up for our recap episode. We'll be back with our preview episode soon, so stay tuned for that. But that's going to wrap it up. That's Cody. I'm Keely. We'll see y'all next time.